This episode was brought to you by the number 42. Hello everybody, welcome back. My name is John Fillmore and welcome to another episode of the Pokemon Analyst. Now, last time I didn't actually have my face. Say hi, face. Hi. And that was because I turned off my mouse, but for some reason that also turned off my webcam. So, fun! Yay! So I expanded the screen a little bit, so now you can actually see, well, my whole desktop, but you can also see my mouse in real time, and where it's actually supposed to be, and my face. So, yeah, I think it'll work out fine. So last time we were talking about supports for our Mega Gardevoir, right? And we gave it a Weavile, and that took a while, right, to decide, because we looked through a lot of stuff, and eventually we found a Weavile. And I really wanted to give a really in-depth way of looking at how you could actually make a support, right? And how to make a core and things like that, choosing megas, things like that. But right now, I don't want to bore you guys too much anymore with actually, you know, oh, what could you do, what could you not do, right? I'm going to give you, of course, some insights, but I'm going to go a little bit faster, and that's why today we're going to choose our next two Pokemon. So, let's see what we got. So, if you look at the stats, this one I put full EVs into special attack, and with this one, I put full EVs into attack, right? So these things are pretty hard hitters. And yes, they are frail in their own certain ways, but with Reflect and with Calm Mind, it does actually help quite a lot. But that's only if you can actually pull it off. What if you actually can't pull it off? Right? What if they shoot a Mach Punch at your Weavile, and there goes your setup for your Gardevoir, right? I mean, of course, you can still use Calm Mind, but its defense still kind of sucks. So I want to find a Pokemon that's still bulky, even if you don't actually have the Reflect or the Calm Mind, right? So I made a team, or at least a team, so to say, of a lot of bulky Pokemon, right? Oh, that's my, hold on, be right back. Sorry about that, guys. My computer said I only had 15% battery left, so I kind of needed that, right? So like I was saying, I have this team set up. Team is a loose word, but oh well. Just to be able to compare them side by side, statistics, moves, all that fun stuff. Just to give a little bit more in-depth explanation of what you can do. So the mother of all bulky water types is a Suicune, right? When I think bulk, I think water, and when I think water, I go for Suicune. Oh, there are so many water types, but I'm gonna go with Suicune. Why? Because HP 100, defense 115, special defense 115. This thing is a tank, right? It does not take fun from anyone. You know, the Scald, the Icy Wind, the Tailwind, the Ice Beam. These are all moves you could give it. So it becomes a very good support Pokemon, but a very bulky one. Right, it can even learn things like Calm Mind, right? So if you want to give it a little more special defense, then you can do it that way, right? All right, now we're gonna go to Milotic. Here we go, Milotic. Milotic. I used to call it Milotalk, which is really bad. It's actually Milotic. So it has things like Scald, Ice Beam, Recover, special defense, pretty good. HP, pretty good. Its defense, lacking, but it can pull off some pretty good bulk, right? And you have things like Recover, you have things like Refresh. For any of these things, you have Confuse Ray, Double Team, Endure, Hypnosis, Psych Up, Safeguard, Sweep Talk, Splash. Why would you use Splash? Why does it even know Splash? Okay. Coil. It has Magic Coat, it has Substitute, it has Toxic, so it can be a pretty good wall and just kind of take out your opponent that way with a Toxic, with Recover, with a Protect, with a Substitute, all that fun stuff. You could also give it a, yes, I know status is not a move, I know. You can also give it an Assault Vest, right? An Assault Vest increases your special defense by 1.5, but you can only use damaging moves, right? So you can't use Recover, you can't use Substitute, you can't use Protect, but you can still use Scald, Ice Beam, Icy Wind, it knows as well, so you can pull that off. And then its special defense will go through the roof, which is impressive, right? That can be very impressive and very hard to take down, right? So that's a possibility. Also with competitive, this Pokemon's special attack is raised for any stats that are lowered. So anything like, I don't know, let's say Icy Wind, or let's say Intimidate, anything like that. It will actually get a boost in special attack, right? 2 times boost. So that is actually really good for anything like Scald or Ice Beam or something like that. That can be very hard to take down once you get it going, right? A very good counter for a what was it? Well, it's a very good counter. Now we're gonna go to the Amoonguss. There you are. Okay, so we have Spore, we have Rage Powder, Giga Drain, Stun Spore, Regenerator. I explained this in the earlier episode, so if you want a little more in-depth on Amoonguss, then go watch episode 2. Venusaur, Leech Seed, Giga Drain, Substitute, Sludge Bomb, with the abilities Overgrow and Chlorophyll. Not bad, stat-wise, pretty well-rounded overall. It also has a Mega Evolution, and the ability of that one is Thick Fat. And Thick Fat is a really, really good ability for Mega Venusaur, because then the only thing that can really hit it with super effectiveness is Psychic and Flying, right? Because Thick Fat, it halves the damage taken by any fire or ice moves. Well, fire and ice are both super effective against Venusaur, so it becomes very hard to take it out, right? And especially with Leech Seed, Giga Drain, things like that, it can even be harder because it just keeps renewing its health, right? Now, Steel types. Steel types, you can do things like Aegislash, right? I know most people actually go for a physical Aegislash, or a special, or, you know, an attacking Aegislash, but you can also make a pretty good defensive Aegislash. Iron Defense, Substitute, Wide Guard, King's Shield. There's a couple of really good moves that Aegislash knows, so I suggest looking at them. But I'm gonna go with a Ferrothorn, and I'll tell you why. First of all, these are some pretty good moves, but they're also very good in combination with each other. Gyro Ball, for one, it gets an increase in power for the distance between your speed and your opponent's speed, right? So if you are facing something incredibly fast, like, I don't know, a Talonflame or something, then the Gyro Ball will get a really good boost, right? And then you can use potentially something like Curse. And Curse lowers your speed, increases your attack and your defense, which is really good. And the minus in speed will work for your Gyro Ball. And since it's also a steel, so it gets a stab and a physical, right? See that the attack on a Ferrothorn is much greater than its special attack. So the thing gets, like, I don't know, let's say a 2 times bonus, right? Just for using one curse, which is really good. And then you get things like Sandstorm. You also have Protect, of course, but Sandstorm, it lowers your opponent's health just a bit, just to give it a little bit of chip damage, and it doesn't do anything for your Ferrothorn. And of course the Leech Seed, and you're going to give it a leftovers just to be really tanky, right? And then I would suggest giving it something like this, something like that, and then full on HP. That makes it very hard to actually just take down. I mean, you need to be careful for fighting, and especially fire types, right? Fire types are pretty much its downfall. But if you can pull that off, then it becomes very, very powerful, right? If you can destroy your opponent's fire types and then switch in your Ferrothorn, it's gonna do some damage, right? Now I am going to go for a sassy nature, just to increase its special defense a little bit, just to be really well-rounded overall. And let me check. Does it also know Stealth Rock? It does know Stealth Rock. So any fire types or anything like that, any flying types, you can set up the Stealth Rock as well in order to, you know what, I'm going to put that on, in order to actually just weaken your opponent's fire types, right? So, I'm going to copy this one, and I am going to put it in this one, right? So now we have another one in our team. And for the last Pokemon for today, I'm going to add a Pokemon in there. Not for any reason, really, but just because I want to, right? It is my favorite Pokemon, and that's a completely legitimate reason to add it to your team. So I'm going to. So you give it something like an Earthquake, or a Rock Slide. I keep forgetting that it's actually 2 words and not 1 word. I'm going to give it an Outrage. Give it an Outrage. You can also go for Dragon Claw. That works fine as well. And I'm going to also give it an Iron Head, which is also 2 words. Okay, Iron Head. You can also go for Poison Jab because it knows that. You can also go for Fire Blast. But I'm going to go for an Iron Head. And I'll tell you why. First of all, Earthquake is powerful. It just is, you know. It has some pretty good attack. Shut up! Shut up! It has some pretty good attack. It also has Stab, because it's a Dragon Ground, right? And it's a good attack to have on a Garchomp, right? You could also have a Rock Slide, to just take care of anything that actually avoids an Earthquake. Outrage for that really just the force, right? The pure force of it. Okay, so you do get confused, and that's why some people actually go for the Dragon Claw. I usually do, but right now I'm just gonna make a really powerful Garchomp, just to give a little bit more force into it, right? Not necessarily just set up, just go for it. You can make a setup, right? You could go for something like Swords Dance, right? Too bad it doesn't actually have Dragon Dance, but that's just how it is. That's how the cookie crumbles. And an Iron Head for any of those fairy types, right? And I'm going to give it an Assault Vest. Now you might be thinking, what? An Assault Vest? You sure you're not going to give it like a Yachi Berry, or I don't know, a Choice Band, Choice Scarf, maybe? And I kind of like Assault Vest, and I'm going to tell you why. Most things that hit Garchomp with super effectiveness are fairies and ice, right? The only thing that most of these moves have is that most of these moves actually are special moves, right? They're special attacks. I said shut up! So they're special attacks, right? So you hit them, or you take them from the special defensive side. And the Assault Vest takes it and increases your special defense, which makes it actually really good, because then your opponent shoots like a Hidden Power Ice at you, or a Moon Blast, or something like that. It will survive. As long as it's not a Stab Ice move, it will actually survive with an Assault Vest, and most of your opponents will be, you know, quite surprised. And then you have the chance to hit them with an Earthquake, a Rock Slide, an Outrage again. So if you're slower than they are, you won't die from their first attack, and then you can hit them back. Or if you are faster, which is why I'm going to give it a Jolly nature, you can hit them, they hit you, you don't die, and then you can hit them again, right? So why do I say Jolly nature? Well, there is a little bit of debate between Jolly or Adamant. I have an Adamant, but I'm going to go with a Jolly at the moment. Increase attack, increase speed, and then it can hit hard and it can hit fast, making it just a really good force to have it on the field. So that's why I've added that one to the list, right? Now, next time we're going to add the last two, and then hopefully next week we'll be able to actually battle. But again, I'm going to leave that for another, I can't speak today, another episode. So thank you all so much for watching. If you liked it, then please like, subscribe, leave a comment or a question or a friendly critique if you would wish to, right? And I will get back to that, and I will happily accept any questions that you have, right? But other than that, I do not have anything else to report. So this is John Fillmore signing off and wishing everyone on the opposite side of the screen a very pleasant day. Goodbye.